Okay. Okay. So who can give me some example of your projects, software projects? Anything, any one project where we want to take as a case study and do it?
Sure,
Vikram?
Ravi. Sure, Ravi, I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Ravi. I mean, how you want it, Ravi?
Any
What are the?
case, any like maybe we can pick up Vola as example or something, right? And start working on that.
Okay.
Something
Okay.
similar.
Okay.
Yeah.
So generally in a software project, firstly, we have a team meeting. Okay.
Okay,
Wherein
I'm
the
not talking about that. Just a project. Some maybe I can take even very easy thing is to take a house construction project, right? As I
oh,
as I mentioned, right?
okay.
So basically, maybe I can think of. Basically, what we are doing is we are trying to capture the requirements, right? Some requirements. What? So basically, the entire project, right? You have a lot of requirements to be done, right? So
Okay.
how the Scrum starts is you have a series of requirements. Maybe let's start with only few requirements and take them and keep in the product backlog. So product backlog is actually the beginning of Scrum. So for just simplicity's sake, you have.
Uh, Ravi, we can take the example of big basket then.
Okay,
Okay.
okay,
Where I mean, because we all are aware of the working, how big basket works. So
okay,
maybe what we can do is, firstly, we need the customers,
okay, okay,
we
okay,
need the suppliers.
okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then we need the infrastructure. So in the infrastructure, we would need maybe the distribution centers, the go downs. Okay.
Okay,
We
okay,
need the employees. Okay.
okay,
So we'll need the employees who would be managing the warehouses. We
okay,
need the employees for distribution points, and we
okay,
also need the delivery boys who might not
okay,
be employees.
okay, okay. So basically, we just need here. We are trying to create a website, right? Website to
Yes.
host entire your big basket or whatever it is.
Yes.
So basically, we need to create certain roles and responsibilities in the
Yes.
website, right?
Yes.
Maybe employees, customers, and all
Customers would be there.
customers.
Yes.
Lot of people are
Yes.
there.
Then
So yeah, what we
hmm,
do is maybe we can have a login screen, right? Login screen, welcome
yes.
screen, right?
Yes.
And then
Yes.
some order
So
order the
order management would
order
be
the
there.
items, okay? Order the
Yeah.
items,
So we
okay?
can call it order.
Yeah,
Order management would be there. Then
yeah.
we would be having the inventory section,
Mm,
wherein the items would be defined and the inventories would be maintained.
mm,
Okay. Then we'll have the packaging department.
okay.
Okay. We'll have the shipping department.
Okay. So now this is the requirement from Vikram. So
Yes.
basically,
And
what we are trying to do is, so in this all the requirements, which one will be the first? Which one will be the next? Right? Login screen maybe with the username and password, right?
Yes.
Username and password. It also has Facebook, right? May also has
Google.
LinkedIn, yeah,
Yeah.
and Gmail, right? And Gmail, right? For example. So basically, entire things will become a product backlog. This actually the items which you are going to build end to end, maybe in form of a list, right? The list we call here as a product backlog. So product backlog consisting of all the items, all the requirements, tasks, maybe defects, everything will be part of this product backlog. So what we do is, so this will be a baseline for product backlog, and we also prioritize the items. And let's say, for example, as a customer, like Vikram wants initially a login screen, and then welcome screen. This is my first requirement, right? And then slowly you can build other things. So what we do is this may be needed for one release, first release, and maybe something else needed for second release, right? So if you think of login screen, in the first release, maybe we need this, right? And Facebook and all, you may not need now. You may need it little later, because we just want to see the connectivity like end to end, what we need and all, right? So this is only this portion will become the release one, right? And maybe this one come in the release two or not. So how do we do is like we call this as a product backlog, right? And then whatever we decided, they will move to Scrum backlog, right? Or maybe sprint backlog, right?
Yeah.
I told you like, sprint is actually a duration in which we are trying to deliver things. Okay. So assuming this is a sprint, we actually, in order to convert prod backlog to sprint backlog, we plan something, right? Maybe all the members will sit together and understand what exactly we are trying to do. So that will become a sprint planning. So in the sprint planning, we try to decide the items which needs to be done in that particular sprint, right? And then once this sprint is completed, we pick up other items and then do the second sprint like that. So in nutshell, Scrum starts with the prod backlog and there's a sprint backlog, right? And that's what I think somebody might have seen the diagram, right? I think I explained this diagram the other day, right?
Yeah.
The product backlog will have the items. We do the sprint planning. We'll go in detail of sprint planning, right? Once you know this basic sprint planning is again, there's a pre-sprint planning and sprint planning, and that is one. And outcome of sprint planning is it will create a sprint backlog, right? And then ideally in the Scrum world, we are defining between 1 to 4 weeks. That is 1 week to 1 month is a maximum duration. Maybe one week is a minimum duration, right? And ideally, they really consider 2 weeks as an ideal duration. In these 2 weeks, everything is done. Everything is you do design, development, testing, deployment, everything will happen. So if you know the SDLs, right? Analysis, design, build, test, review will happen in this sprint. So in order to get everything into the sprint, you may need to, slice further, like I told you, right? So assuming only these two are going, and in addition to that, you can have at least few more things. Usually you will have 4 to 5 stories, user stories, or 4 to 5 tasks will be done in one particular division. Then in order to do more things in a sprint, you need to slice it. You need to break into a pieces which can be done by all the existing teams. And then at the end of the day, you are getting the shippable product increment. This is not the entire part we are talking about. At the base release, at the first release, maybe at the end of first sprint, you may see certain items, right? So as I said, as we move on into the journey, we'll be delivering more items, which is required for release. I think we have seen the waterfall versus Agile. So this is the traditional way, and this is Agile way of doing things. Rather than doing one big rock at the end of a couple of months, we want to do every 2 weeks, we are going to do something, right? So this one also, right? Here in the waterfall, we are doing requirements, design, coding, testing, right? Same thing, I just have a color coded first 4 items, then next 4 items, next 4 items, next 4 items. So you have actually delivering, bits and pieces. You are actually, you are going through the finish line. You are closer to finish line by each and every frame, right? So rather than reading at the end of your semester exams, right? We have to start doing, I think, I don't know, in earlier education system, you have unit test, right? Unity test, weekly test, quarterly test, monthly test, yearly test, so that student is able to prepare well before the final exams. What happens if you keep only final exams, no in between exams? What will happen? Does everybody will pass? So what will happen? We don't have any unit tests and all. We directly keep with final tests, right? So most of them will fail, right? So similar to that, we have incremental deliveries and also incremental reviews uh, by the relevant people. So anything here, Vikram, Vijay, Venkat? So is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. So I just took a requirement, non-prioritized, all this, we are actually prioritized. In the first we are actually keeping the ground clean, and then we are trying to do compound wall at the beginning of our construction. Then we go with slabs. Then after that we do pipes and all. So this is a journey I created over the time. It's not like, I'm not giving entire picture in the construction process. And I think almost everything looks similar. I think here, if you see it here, right? If you see, I have a product backlog ready. Like we are creating a product for maybe Walmart or maybe your central, Pune Central or Bangalore Central, whatever it is. So there are 3 items in the product backlog. One is to, when the customer comes back with the item, right? You are actually trying to implement the return items. When Vikram brings me a product, brings me that, let's say he purchased something, soaps or whatever it is, and he's not liking it, so he's returning the soaps. So what should you do as a system, right? So that is what the goal of this thing, right? So the sprint goal is actually the goal of the particular sprint. So we'll be spending 2 to 4 weeks in the sprint, and in the sprint planning, what will happen is we'll try to pick up the return item in the sprint backlog, and then this item will be, we are spending 2 to 4 weeks. At the end of 2 to 4 weeks, we are getting a potentially shippable product increment. That means we are able to implement return flow into the system. So if somebody comes back with the material, whatever soap and all, so the customer is going to select the return button. Then return button will help him to take the item inside, return the money. So maybe there may be various combinations, or like, if he has purchased via cash, whether you're giving cash back or all that mechanism can be decided in the return software. right? And then again, somebody is giving us coupons to be implemented. So once any item comes, we actually again prioritize and keep it in order. So this is a simple example of how the Scrum process works. Okay. So as I said, Scrum works in a series of sprints, typical duration of 1 to 4 weeks or calendar month, not more than a month, based on Scrum Guide. So actually, constant duration leads to better return. So if you have selected 2 weeks sprint, 2 week duration, you keep 2 weeks only, and maybe you see whether 2 weeks sprint is working or not. Maybe after a couple of months, you can change it to 3 weeks or maybe 1 week, depending on how the progress is. So product design coded tested during the sprint. Right? So who are the actors? Who are the people who are actually doing in the Scrum? There's a product owner. Product owner is actually owns what is designed and why it is designed. So Scrum Master is a keeper of Scrum process. He's also facilitator. He helps in removal of impediments, maybe issues, concerns, and all. Right? And Scrum delivery team owns how and how quickly work is to be delivered. So Scrum Master is not a project manager. So Scrum Master is actually helping the team, helping the product owner whenever it is required, right? And I think Scrum Guide says Scrum Master is a servant leader, okay? And direct communication between the product owner and Scrum delivery team is maintained. Here, if you see, we're not talking about project, we're not talking about project management, we are not talking about assignments and all, assigned, given tasks and all is not there. So Scrum delivery team is also self-organizing, which as per Agile, Scrum delivery team is actually in self-organized. But it's very easy to say, but it's very difficult to implement self-organized teams. So these are 3 roles. Scrum says wherever you are, however you are, you have to fit into, you have to create these 3 roles. One is a product owner, who is actually a person who is talking to the end customer, getting the requirements and giving the requirements in form of product backlog to the Scrum team. And he is also help you to define what he needs in the sprint 1, what he needs in sprint 2. He may tell at the high level. It's up to the team which one to do first, right? So assume that product owner is like you are going to buy a house, right? Or you are actually constructing a house. In that case, you are the sponsor come product owner. If you go to big builder, right? There is a person marketing executive is going to be a front end, and somebody in the team who is going to be is maybe the chief construction officer. So who is going to talk to the team based on the requirements? Like my requirements are different, Vikram's requirements are different, Vijay's requirements are different. So everything is translated by the product owner to the team. So any confusion here?
No, Ravi.
No.
Yeah, Vikram, go ahead.
No, I said no, Ravi. No,
Okay.
no problem. Yeah.
So there are 4 ceremonies. Daily Scrum meeting happens daily. As I said, sprint planning meeting to convert product backlog to sprint backlog. Again, sprint planning is 2 types, which will go. One is a pre-sprint planning and sprint planning, right? And sprint review meeting is like a system demo or like a software demo. And then retrospective is, this is actually how are we doing, right? It's sprint review is about the coding part. When you deliver, let's say you create a hello world screen, how is it in that particular sprint? And that will be reviewed by the product owner in the team. And whereas the sprint retrospective is all about, whether the people, how people are behaving, what is the process, what is the technology is being used. This is a more of other than the software aspects. We'll go through detail one by one. So in 2017, there are 3 questions were there. So main questions are what I did yesterday, what I'll do today, what is on my way. And it is 15 minutes time box, same place, same time. Facilitated by Scrum Master, full team presence, focus on 3 questions. In 2020, they suggested you don't need to go with this format. Whatever format will work for you, use it. That's what they mentioned in the daily stand-up meeting. So this is also called daily. Some people call daily Scrum meeting. This is called DSM. So daily stand-up meeting is not the status meeting. It is about what you worked yesterday, what you work today. Did you have any problem? Right? Maybe you're working on task XYZ and there's a dependency with Vijay, right? So that's all is required. Vijay and Vikram can go and talk to that and then resolve the issue offline. So and also Scrum meeting is, Scrum Master is not the owner. You're telling the entire team about what you are doing, any blocker. Right? Maybe if you are telling that if there is a blocker, somebody might have already seen this kind of blocker, they may suggest, okay, Vikram, you do this. Maybe you contact XYZ person in the company, he'll help you. That's all. It's not about a blame game, it's not about anything. That's about daily stand-up. So not okay. So sprint review is, you have your sprint backlog and your goal also. Goal is to build username and password to build a login screen, for example, right? At the end of the sprint, this product is reviewed. Somebody will go over you and demonstrate, adapt, discuss, demonstrate, discuss, and adapt. We are not adapting anything here. Only thing is, let's say that return item, we have implemented the return cart. So the return cart items, the product owner will have that specifications. You may review this here, or if it is already, if it is done like few days earlier, the product owner can review independently. You can suggest a feedback like how it is it meeting his criteria or not. The sprint review meeting is a place where we are going to review the status of each items. Let's say we took 10 stories. It might be already reviewed by the team, right? Already reviewed by product owner. But here it is going to be saying that I have already reviewed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 also I have reviewed. I have issues with 8 and 9. Right? I have issues with 8 and 9. 10 will not go live because of various reasons. Right? So this is all about whoever is required to be there in the team. whoever need to be reviewed, Scrum team may be there, or some of the, let's say we are delivering this to internal finance department, right? They may be there, or maybe external sponsors, if they are there, they can be there. Okay. Ideally, the Scrum team is, all these people are extra as needed by the product. So we are reviewing it, and then the product backlog is updated. We took 10 items. Out of 10 items, we can only deliver 8 items. 2 items are not useful. So this will go back to the product backlog. So we are actually refining the product backlog, and we are actually updating the release plan. So this is typical of how our products are reviewed actually, but the Scrum is giving a structure to it, structure the review. What will happen before, what will happen after, right? So any questions here?
No, Ravi.
No, sir.
Okay.
Fine.
So I told you about the sprint review, and we discussed about daily stand-up meeting. And then Scrum retrospective is about people, process, tools, technology. So here we may use simply, right? We are little off by estimation points. Estimation points is a way of way of doing estimation. Okay. PO did not mess with our plans, right? No, product owner, because product owner gave us 10 requirements. He told us to do 10 requirements. We did 10 requirements. In between, PO did not come and created a problems. So too many distractions are there. That is a negative thing, right? And we are syncing, but we are learning to speak, right? If you are actually brand new team, you will not definitely have hiccups, lot of problems until you get settled, right? Here we are looking at good, bad, ugly. Again, this is not a blame game. Okay, this is not like no, Vijay has not done properly, or Vikram has not done this properly. It's not about that. We are trying to, this retrospective is actually retrospecting how we are doing, right? And then where is the problem, where what can we improve? So these retrospective items may go to the backlog, right? Maybe in the next sprints, you try to eliminate these items. If team is doing bad, and we try to avoid actually, I don't know, don't have that. Okay, so basically start doing good things, stop the bad things, right? If you already started the good things, you continue. Start, stop, continue. That is a very simple retrospective, instead of saying good, bad, ugly, right? So what is the difference between sprint review and retrospective?
Sprint retrospective is just like a postmortem what has been happened after,
Mhm,
and what might be done in a better way than what has been happened. This is with regard to retrospective. Sprint review is what's going to happen, how you are going to do, and what might have been done.
Now, sprint review is about the code, about the product.
Okay.
In retrospective is about people, process, tools, and technologies.
Okay.
Review about, let's say you give a piece of work. I think Vikram gave us some work, right? So for big basket, right? Big basket, what are the things which were supposed to deliver in the first sprint? How it delivered is actually the sprint review. we're actually talking about only the software development part,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's a login screen. Right? Username and password. If username and password, you are given username and password, but if product owner says my username should be, is it a company name or is it just like whatever your initials, right? What is the length of username and how password should look like? But they may say one uppercase letter, one lowercase letter, number, right? Some ASCII characters. So that is what it is all about. All about the review. Software review actually is, you usually said demo, right? The demo portion is a sprint review. And retrospective is all about how the people are behaving, how we were able to do that. Maybe the requirements not clear. The requirement not clear. Before even you start doing it, you have start picking up. You have to look at whether the requirements are clear or not. If not, we need to talk to people before even we signing to that particular task, right? And then we'll go through sprint planning again. So the sprint is no more than 1 month. Sprint planning is 8-hour time box meeting for 1 month sprint. For shorter sprints, the event is usually shorter. So if you are attending interviews, like, they also ask, how much is the sprint length? Like, how much is the sprint planning for 2-week sprint? Right? Daily scrum is 15 minutes. Sprint review is a 4-hour time box for 1 month sprint. Right? Sprint retrospective talks about 3 hours time box meeting for 1 month sprint. So here almost everything is for 1 month sprint. And daily scrum is a daily thing, 15 minutes time box event. So for 2 weeks, it is 4 weeks, 4 weeks time box. For sprint review, here 4 hours, right? 8 by 2 is 4. Yes, sprint review is 2 hours for 2 week sprint. Sprint retrospective is 1.5 hours for 2 week sprint. So ideally, these questions will be asked. So Arjuman, anything to add?
Yes, Ravi.
Yeah. Again, the sprint planning is actually divided into two different things. Okay. So now you tell me, if this is this DSM, right? DSM is a daily activity. Assuming there are 10 days in the sprint, 10 days will happen, right? Right. And then sprint planning. When does sprint planning should start? Vikram?
It should be at the start. I mean, before we start the sprint.
Sprint planning. So this will be at the start. When should we do sprint review?
So once we are done with the sprint, done in the sense, I mean, the coding part is ready.
Yeah, coding part is done. Okay.
Yes.
So by this is the end date. For example, this is end, right? Okay. By end, we have to review all items. Even retrospective is also at the end. If we are able to finish this earlier, it's okay to review, but this meeting, it may be as simple as that. Out of 10 stories, 3 are going, 4 are having problems, minor problems, and rest of them will not be able to accept, right? That may be as simple as that. So again, the pre-sprint planning is, we'll start 2 to 3 weeks before and keep our part backlog ready. Let's say we are working on sprint 10. So DSM is happening for sprint 10. Daily it is happening. Right? Sprint planning again for sprint 10. Right? Sprint review for sprint 10. Yeah. And sprint retro is again for sprint 10. Pre-sprint planning for sprint 10, it will happen 2 to 3 sprints before, right? Maybe we'll start from sprint 7 and continue in sprint 8
and 9.
Sprint 9. So our main aim is we are actually planning to get everything ready, so that we can start working sprint 10. Most of the people will actually don't even do pre-sprint plan, right? They just see whatever is available, whatever is ready, they will do everything. They'll start picking up things. We don't plan in the Agile, in the Scrum, so you are not going to get good quality, right? So you are actually picking up haphazardly. Like before preparation of food, what you do, right? Maybe if you want to do breakfast today morning, maybe you go few days before to the store, get everything ready, right? And get all the items for making certain food item, right? That's what happens. Most of people start whatever is available, they start doing the things which is not planned. So we don't plan early, you don't get the success of the product. Most of people take so much items into the sprint and they could not deliver that. You don't have time to do the pre-sprint planning. So ideally, pre-sprint planning earlier, I think it is, let's say you are spending 200 hours in the particular sprint. You at least need to spend 20% in pre-sprint planning. So ideally, the pre-sprint planning here in this sprint, it will happen for sprint 10 plus 3, right? Maybe
11, 12, 13.
Not even that, it should start, we should plan for sprint 13, 14, 15 like that.
Okay.
So we are actually planning for, maybe we can have few time boxes. You have to push the, for new team, it's very difficult for them to get into this rhythm. So if you see this is a more of a framework, right? This is not a rocket science, okay? But the software development process, they are given a framework. So your daily stand-up, you have sprint planning, sprint review, sprint retrospective, pre-sprint planning. So if you understand this, you understand everything. Know how to align this format. Let's wrap out. Okay. So if you know this concepts very well, right, and then you can clear the interview, and also it will help for you to do the better thing. And don't expect miracles. You are just learn something. It's doing implementing. If you are the only one person who is implementing, that will be good. But if you want to tell the team to implement, they'll ask us thousands of questions. You should be able to understand what you are doing. Because if you don't know what you are doing, you cannot tell anything to the team. So Ajman, anything to add here?
No, Ravi, it's been pretty clear actually. So all the steps regarding the artifacts of Scrum have been defined clearly.
Yes, yes.
When what needs to be done.
Yeah, when actually if you have this thing in the clear mind, then you can able to solve. Actually, I'm like you, maybe a couple of years back, a huge confusion between what happens in sprint planning, what happens in pre-sprint planning, what happens in review, and these numbers also. They ask, I told you these numbers. This numbers also very much important. So product backlog refinement, it was optional in the 2017. I was not at 2020, but they said this is actually required product backlog refinement. It says consume not more than 10% of capacity of the development team. I just said if you have 200 hours is your capacity, available time to complete. Capacity is not like like Dara Singh and all Milka Singh or whatever it is. It's not about individual capacity. Individual hours, number of hours is actually the capacity. So consumes not more than 10% of development team. And the 2020, 2021, 2020 said, it's optional. Whatever is required, you do it.
Basically, we can time box it into these particular hours, but actually speaking, it might go more, and sometimes it might even be less. Actually,
yeah, it may be less.
Sometimes it's even less. Sometimes it's taking more. It will take more than what we are actually defining here. 8 hours, for example, your CEO might ask you like 8 hours. You are doing only 2 weeks sprint. Why you need 2 days of development, 2 days of planning? Yeah, even to actually bring the team up to the level. Suppose it's a fresh team, and even one member needs to be added to the team, and he has to be brought up to speed,
Yes.
and more, and then a new feature to be added. The amount of planning which is required becomes more. Sometimes that 8 hour span has to be just justifiable. You need to have more, so that needs to be understood. So yeah, these are what is you have to go by. But depending on the situation, this changes actually.
Yes.
So that's what I have tried. See, it's not like it has to be strictly adhered to, oh, they said 8 hours, I will put only 8 hours, because in my schedule for approval, this will have to be given. But otherwise, it can extend or it can even be less.
Yes,
but
yes.
every time you need to justify it, that's all.
It's just like, kind of a ballpark estimation. That's all. Not less, not more. Okay. But ideally, you don't need to justify to anybody. And one thing is, if people are asking, I think you will have that commander hats, right? The military leaders, managing them is a very difficult. So I was actually trying to tell them the way you are doing is incorrect. He said, we are doing this Agile for last 11 years. We are very much comfortable. Okay, good. It's good. You want to teach me, teach me. Okay, otherwise it's okay, right? It's just like your cup is full, right? If your cup is full, right? So you cannot feel anything else. If I'm going to learn, if I'm going to learn something from Vikram or somebody else, I need to keep some space. Otherwise, if I know that I know everything, then why I went there, right? Why should I go to somebody else to learn if you don't want to learn, right? So something similar to that.
Mostly, generally, I feel with the development team, when they think of Agile, they think, okay, no rules, no documentation to be followed. I mean, we can do whatever we want, but we have to give the code at this time. So that is the general perception they have. So that first of all has to, like, as a Scrum Master, that becomes the biggest responsibility to change that. That even in Agile, there are certain rules or certain things which have to be followed.
Yeah, it's not like, it's a very short time box.
Yeah.
You don't need to do documentation. But and all.
Yeah, you don't have to do, but what happens is basically don't do documentation. It's very intensive, but certain times it is required a little bit of, thought process is required to be done.
Yeah,
or a design or something, thought process, I'm saying. For the thought process, not for the sake of having an ISO certification.
Yeah.
Yeah, that they feel is, I mean, will not have, I mean, that they feel is unnecessary.
Yeah. So basically, I think the other day also I mentioned about Agile framework, right? So individual interactions were person tools, working software over comprehensive documentation, right? And customer collaboration or contract negotiation, respond to change or following plan. So we are actually uncovering new ways of working to sustain in the industry, right? That's what we are trying to do. It's not a rocket science, but I think Scrum looks simple, but it's very difficult to understand and then very difficult to implement. That's what the Scrum is all about. So that's what simple, lightweight, difficult to master, mindset change. First of all, when you're implementing Scrum, people ask you, why should I do that? Right? If you start questioning everything, why should I do DSM? Why should I do this? Why should I do that? Why should I be like self-organized team?
It might be resist to change concept.
Yeah, it's a race to change. Why? Once you keep why, then it's very difficult. Right? You are working towards a goal, right? Just like Olympic champion, right? Whatever they are delivering, whatever they're showcasing, that last few only for last maybe few seconds to minutes they are showing that how much planning they are doing, right? how much thing they are doing, right? If you look at, there are a lot of good movies, check day is there, how much practice you need, which player to go when, right? All the things are very important. You will not be doing that kind of thing as a Scrum Master, but in the project manager world, you would have done that. Who should front end now, who can demo and all that. Here we have to create a self-organized team to have self-sustained journey. So I just want to take some time to reflect what we have done. Okay? So we'll try to go through tomorrow also more. So this one we have discussed, right? In this one we did a prioritization, right? And then Scrum process. We just set sprint goal, return, bootstrap, cancel, and we are delivering in backlog, right? Coupons. And 1 to 4 weeks, we define about what is the roles of product owner, Scrum Master, Scrum delivery team, daily Scrum, sprint planning, sprint retrospective, sprint review, daily stand-up meeting. Pre-sprint planning, I discussed very brief actually. So pre-sprint planning is all about getting product backlog ready. That's the main item. The reason we are starting 2 to 3 weeks earlier is certain stories are very clear, certain requirements are very clear, certain defects are very clear. Some requirements, certain defects or stories would need a lot of conversations. If Vijay is a developing, right? If Venkat is a product owner, and let's say Vikram is a tester, and Arjuman is a business analyst, it's very difficult to know everybody everything. There may be a SME, subject matter expert for particular domain. So you will definitely, you have to call them to understand that requirement, right? So Vijay, for finance persons, you will have certain SME, right? If you're not able to understand anything, right? You go and reach them out to understand, try to understand. Otherwise, you cannot do your work, right? Something similar to that. You will have SMEs, you have a lot of people. So you need to catch hold of a lot of people. So that's why we are giving 2 to 3 weeks before that. If you pick up suddenly, it's very difficult to do whatever is available, you have to do, right? If you are planning to have XYZ, but you can do only ABC. Every sprint is ad hoc sprint. You don't get the output. So you have to plan early. It's not like when you are starting your journey, only you go and fill up the tank, you only do buying and all, right? So basically you're wasting a lot of time from the time you started to reach the destination. So you already wasted a couple of hours in doing all the preparation. You want to start early morning 5 a.m. By yesterday night, you should have all things checked. All the items should go into the front, right? And you should 5 a.m. you should start your car and you should go to the destination, right? This is as good as that. If you don't plan your journey well, you are going to face a lot of problems in the journey. Right? Similar to that, pre-sprint planning is the essential part of it, but very rarely people do this. Right? So anything so far?